Hello and welcome to Only Connect. Tonight you'll notice I've come as Marilyn Monroe. I'm in pink satin and I'm a size 14 and rattling with pills. It's the nerves because this is the final, the grand final. The winners will walk away with a magnificent glass trophy. The losers have to go on and meet the eggheads. That's not to play a quiz, they just have to meet them. Now, I'm sure we're in for an elegant and dignified contest, not an unseemly mess of screamed threats and fist-throwing, entertaining though the rehearsal was. So let's meet the teams vying for championship. On my right, the Epicureans. David Brewis, a schoolmaster from Durham who owns every edition of the Guinness Book of Records. Aaron Bell, a politics, philosophy and economics graduate from Beckenham in Kent. And their captain, Katie Bramall-Stainer, a GP with a BSc in the history of medicine, who wrote her dissertation on the history of sexual deviancy. And who wouldn't? Katie, the Epicureans have beaten the courtiers, the bridge players and the rights. How have you celebrated those victories?
Oh, we celebrated each round by dining, and we've dined in all the Michelin-starred restaurants in Cardiff.
Well, let's see if it'll be another Michelin dinner. Your opponents are the radio addicts. Dave Clark, an English teacher and blogger who has a collection of over 50 radios. Neil Phillips, a music lover and huge radio enthusiast who listens to Radio 5 every day and is learning to speak Italian. And their captain, Gary Grant, a wildlife lover with a passion for indie music who works as a locum GP. You have beaten the taxonomists, the Brit poppers and the alesmen to win your place in the final, Radio Addicts. It was a pretty tight semi-final. How are you feeling about tonight?
Well, we'll have to play an awful lot better than we did in the semi-final. In rounds 1 and 2, we were like people who had their brains plumbed in the wrong way around. So we had to come storming back in rounds 3 and 4, which might make for good television, but isn't very good for our nerves, to be honest.
It was round 4 that saved you, but your opponents tonight have a famously good record in that round, so perhaps you'll write a few more points earlier. But nobody will get any points unless we start the quiz. So let's get on with round 1, where I will ask you teams simply, what is the connection between 4 clues? Epicureans, you won the toss, but you've decided to put the radio addicts in first. So, addicts, please choose a question.
OK, we'll kick off with Twisted Flax.
The Twisted Flax, first clue coming up now.
OK, is that near Chernobyl, perhaps?
Could be Ukraine.
OK, so we think we get another one, perhaps? Next. Central. Are these the most central points of continents? So perhaps the most central point of Europe, the most central point of America.
I like your thinking.
Yeah, do you want another one?
Yeah.
And if it's somewhere like
yeah,
that.
how certain are you?
60%. Next. Oh, the most central point of the country. Most central point of the country in question.
Yeah.
10 seconds.
Should we try that? We have nothing else, have we?
Well, Pripyat, something.
Sorry. We think it's the geographical centre of the country that's named second.
It is not that. So I'm going to show the 4th clue to the Epicureans. You need to give it to me quickly.
Scenes of massacres.
They are not scenes of massacres. No, these are all places that have been abandoned. Pripyat in the Ukraine after Chernobyl, I think you know that's what happened there, it was abandoned. Centralia in the USA after a mine fire. Oradour-sur-Glane in France was destroyed during the war. And St Kilda simply was abandoned in 1930 because life there was just too difficult. Places that are now uninhabited. So no bonus, but Epicureans, you can now choose a question.
Water, please.
Water. First clue coming up now.
Flying a kite's really next. Next.
Things you have to do for skill.
That's not bad.
You need something else.
Next. I'd rather not that.
That might be good.
There are things that have been supposed to be done in the USA.
Flying a kite?
Well, it could well be, couldn't it?
Should we go next?
Go for one more? One more, please.
Next.
10 seconds.
OK, there were things that were banned during wartime.
Yeah, OK. These are all activities that were banned during wartime.
I'll accept it. Banned during the First World War under the Defence of the Realm Act. They were banned, the first 3, obviously because they'd attract too much attention. And that last one because the government feared that worker productivity would drop. For me, a few drinks makes my productivity rate even higher. But the government just don't think, do they? Radio addicts, please pick a question.
2 reads, please.
2 reads. These are going to be picture clues. You've got the picture question. What's the connection? Time starts now.
Here's a mouse.
computer mouse.
So again, we'll have to go next. Next.
Windsor Castle.
Windsor, is it?
Windsor.
Is it
Looks
Windsor?
like Windsor. That's the main
So you've got
tower.
mouse, you've got Windsor.
What do they call it? The Pepper Pot Tower or something? They call it.
Pepper pot.
Windsor Chair. Windsor.
Windsor Nought, Windsor Tie, mouse tie. I think we have to have it. Next. And a golf ball.
tea.
Well, it could be a ball, could be a golf ball. Golf ball, mouse.
10 seconds.
Pepper pot. Next. We'll just try something or other. And Pinocchio, things that grow.
5
Made out
seconds.
of wood. They were all originally made out of wood.
How ridiculous. You don't think that's the answer, do you? No. But it is the answer. You are absolutely correct. They are things that were originally made out of wood. The first computer mouse was made of wood. Windsor Castle was. It stood there for 100 years. It was rebuilt out of stone by Henry II. Golf balls were originally made of wood, and Pinocchio was originally made of wood until, put your fingers in your ears if you don't want the story spoilt, he turned into a real boy. So well done, you get the point. Epicureans, please choose a question.
Eye of Horus, please.
Eye of Horus, first clue coming up now.
Go next. I mean, it's, yeah,
Next.
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 That's from Shine. First Shine.
It's from...
Yeah, it is from Casablanca.
Do you I don't think they were. But no, I think, well, try again. Yeah, he does.
Next.
That's the Taxi Driver.
Yeah. He doesn't ever actually.
It could still be.
I think that's what.
Should we go for
I
it?
think we should go next.
No, I think
Should we go for
10
it?
seconds.
Go for it.
Famous lines from films that were never actually spoken in the film.
I'm afraid that's not the answer, so I'm going to show the fourth clue to the radio addicts.
They were repeated in the sequel. There are lines from a film which were repeated in the sequel.
Oh, no, they weren't repeated in sequels. No, they are famous lines from films. They were spoken in the films, but not in the scripts, because the connection is they're all lines said to have been improvised by the actors. The films Casablanca, The Shining, Taxi Driver and Jaws. So no points on that question, but radio addicts, you now get to choose a hieroglyph.
Lion, please.
Lion, first clue coming up now.
Inferno, some new Dante's Inferno. Too obvious, isn't it? It's a film as well. Towering Inferno. Next. Prometheus Bound. Well, again, that's... Are these subtitles? I mean, that was...
These are prequels. is it?
Prequels.
I don't
Prequels,
know.
are they?
I'm not sure.
Do we need another one? Do you think?
Yeah,
Next. I'm not spoke the
I am not
That was a biography of...
Hang on, no, the titles were changed around. Prometheus Bound, Prometheus Unbound. I'm not Spock, and his second one was I Am Spock.
Right. So
You're under
what
10
we're saying.
seconds.
Next.
3 seconds.
Paradise Regained, yeah.
Okay. Can I nominate him to say it?
You certainly can.
They all had sequels where the titles were the opposite of those titles. So,
I'll give you the point. It's not exactly sequels, but they are all works whose authors wrote the opposite titled work. So Dante wrote Inferno and Paradiso, Prometheus Bound and Prometheus Unbound from Aeschylus. Leonard Nimoy, of course, I'm Not Spock, also wrote I Am Spock, and Milton wrote Paradise Lost and Paradise Regained. So well done, and that leaves the Horned Viper for you, Epicureans. Of course, that'll be the music question, and your first clue is coming up now.
Give it a little bit longer.
Next.
We're busy doing nothing, working the whole day through. Trying
No, it's not.
lots of things
Next.
not to do.
How the other one is from... Next.
Next.
10 seconds.
Okay, that's one part from the Holy Grail.
Spam a lot.
I think they've got snakes in the title.
5 seconds.
Should we go for that?
Try it.
Snakes.
Why is that?
Are there snakes in all the titles of those pieces of music?
For the films.
Unluckily for
films.
you, there are snakes in the title of none of those pieces of music. So I'm going to go over to the radio addicts for a possible bonus.
Possibly something to do with King Arthur, because the third one was from Camelot and the fourth one was Knights of the Round Table.
From Spamalot.
You're absolutely right. The connection is Arthurian legends. You heard Parsifal, busy doing nothing from a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's court, How to Handle a Woman from Camelot, and the one you recognise, Knights of the Round Table from Spamalot. So at the end of round one, the Epicureans have got 1 point, but the radio addicts are in the lead with 3. Round 2 is all about sequences. This time I will show the teams the first in a sequence. They can see the second and third, but not the fourth, because the fourth is the answer. So, radio addicts, you'll be going first again. Please choose a hieroglyph.
2 reads, please.
2 reads. First in a sequence coming up. What's fourth? Time starts now.
It's gone, isn't it? Yeah. Are these the most... But you're not going to have to know the next...
That was the first thing done on production line.
Was it? 5 million London?
I don't know.
I really don't. I think we're going to have to go for the next one quite early, aren't we? Next. 10 million Jacobs.
Yeah, he scored more runs in first-class cricket than anybody else.
But what on earth? It's going up, obviously. It's doubling every time.
10 seconds.
Samuel Thorpe, 5 wins London, Jacobs, cricket.
Take the last and give us a long
5 seconds.
We haven't got a clue, have we? Nothing.
Take the last.
We can't. It's the second round. We really don't know. The bottom of the barrel is being scraped with 20 million New York.
And that's absolutely wrong, as I'm sure you know.
Yes.
So there's a possible bonus for you Epicureans.
20 million Google.
No. I'm surprised you don't know this, because this is to do with a film that I would have thought you'd all like. These are the prizes and correct answers from the last 4 questions in Slumdog Millionaire.
Oh, brilliant.
Never seen it.
It's a brilliant question, isn't it? The film about a man doing Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in India. These are the last 4 answers and the prizes he gets. Epicureans, will there be another great question that you can't answer? Have to hope not. Which hieroglyph would you like?
Water, please.
Water. First in a sequence coming up. What is fourth? Time starts now.
Next. Next.
No, it's no. No, it's in the fourfold part of the other way or something. What might it be?
Buddhism, isn't it? States of Buddhism. What's when you come back? It's reincarnation, isn't it? Could it be anything else?
No,
10 seconds.
I think of. Give it a second.
What should we go for?
5 seconds.
Right, yeah.
Rebirth, reincarnation.
I'm afraid that is not the answer. So, possible bonus addicts.
Try Sangha.
You're along the right lines, but that's not the right answer. They are the 4 noble truths of Buddhism. And fourth, I'd have liked to hear Ashtangika Magga, but I'd have accepted the Eightfold Path, its translation. Radio addicts, please pick a question.
Lion, please.
Lion, first in a sequence coming up. Time starts now.
Are these the order of people who... down the street?
There's only 3 living down the street.
Oh, are there?
Only 3
Okay.
houses.
Next. Oh, I think it is. And next one
I'm sure there's only 3 houses. There's 10, 11 and 12. Chance there.
Well, if this next one's a chance, we're going to have to come up with a 12th one, aren't we?
I don't think there is a 4th one.
No?
I would
Okay.
take the next one.
Next. There you go. So who lives
Who
at...
else would live in?
Who would live in a house that... Is it the foreign minister?
10
First Lord of the Embassy? We don't know. So do you want to try the First Lord of the Embassy? Is there still a First Lord of the Embassy, in fact?
5 seconds.
Okay. The foreign minister. We think they're all the order of where they live in Downing Street, but we actually don't know who lives at number 12.
I'm afraid you have not given me the right answer. So, Epicureans, have a go for a bonus.
Really? Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster?
Goodness me, where did that come from?
It's just a bit obscure for the final, so...
I see. No, that's not the answer. You are correct. These are the people living at number 9, 10 and 11 Downing Street. At number 12, the Prime Minister's press officer.
Ah.
Really?
All right. I think we need to see some points accrued. Epicureans, which hieroglyph would you like?
Twisted flax, please.
The wick of twisted flax. This is going to reveal to you some picture clues. What would you expect to see in the 4th picture? The first one is coming up now.
Okay. So that's from... It's in the Guardian, isn't it?
Next. Should we go next?
Next. Can't remember her name. Ah, that's...
Colours, magenta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's magenta.
Should we go for one more?
Yeah, it's magenta. Is it?
Well, that's it.
Cyan?
CYMK. Let's have the next one.
Really? Next.
Yeah, something black.
So it's black.
Okay, should we go for that then?
Are
Okay.
we sure that's
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah,
what we
it
thought.
must be.
10 seconds.
Go on.
Jack Black?
Jack Black, for example.
Something black.
Something
like
black.
Jack
I will accept it. What I really wanted to hear was key. We've got a picture of a key. I think you know it's the CMYK process colours. It is a printing process. K for key, but the key colour usually is black, so I will take that answer. Nevertheless, well done. Back to you, radio addicts, to make a choice.
Eye of Horus.
The Eye of Horus. First in a sequence coming up. What's fourth? Time starts now.
You think it's give me a science one, so I might be on my own here. CH4, isn't it? So next, ammonia's NH. This is CH3, NH3, CH4, NH3.
I can't even...
Oh, crikey, will be the next one. Next, water H2O. So we've got a 4, we've got a 3, we've got a 2. Maybe just hydrogen, then one of it's on its own.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Hydrogen.
I'm afraid that is not the answer, so I'm going over to you, Epicureans, for a possible bonus.
Can I nominate the chemistry
As the
schoolmaster?
chemistry teacher.
Let's hear it.
HF, hydrofluoric acid or hydrogen fluoride.
That is what I'm looking for. Can you please explain to your opponents why I could not give them the points?
They're the hydrides of the second period elements starting in group 4, group 5, group 6 and group 7.
They've got 4, 3, 2 and 1 hydrogen atoms in them, whereas
That-
hydrogen
that-
has 2.
Yeah.
No, he's completely right. It is... Hydrogen is involved, but these are compounds that are created when you react hydrogen with, as David says, elements from the periodic table in the second row going from left to right. I think that's complicated enough for a final game clue. Very well done for the bonus point. And now, Epicureans, you have your own question. It's the Horned Viper. First clue coming up now.
That's the total value of the properties in that group. It is. So it's going to be dark blue. We're going round. It's going to be dark blue equals £750, and I would go for it now.
Okay.
Yeah. 750.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Okay.
Dark blue equals £750. Amazingly, you've come in after one clue. You're going to get 5 points. That is 100% correct. And what's the reason?
The total value of the monopoly properties in their respective colours.
It is the 4 most expensive sets in Monopoly and the total price of those properties. Congratulations on that.
Well done, Aaron.
At the end of round 2, then, the radio addicts have got 3 points, but the Epicureans are ahead with 9.